Meeting.
Okay, it is 5 o'clock, and we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. And it's Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, and it's a little after 5. This meeting is held in person and by interactive conference technology, and the meeting will be recorded on Zoom and uploaded to the Planning Department YouTube channel. And as a reminder, for Sunshine Law, the AC members appearing remotely must keep their cameras on and announce anyone who is with them in their location. And if anyone needs the meeting packet, there's a QR code on the last page of the agenda that you can scan to access. So we'll start off with roll call. Mahealani, the vice chair, is going to be joining us shortly via Zoom. So Robert Nishimoto.
Bob, present.
Tom Kinney.
Here, please excuse the hat. I had a scalp surgery yesterday, so.
And I am the chair, I'm Brad Korkawa, and we do have a quorum to hold this meeting. And we have with us on county staff, planning department staff, Mariam Palma and Jessica Lahip, and is Janice via Zoom. And housekeeping wise, please make sure to turn off your cell phones or put it on silent mode. And if there's anyone who wants to testify, please fill out the sign up form here and give it to our staff, and the Zoom testifiers can send a message in the chat on the Zoom to the Zoom host indicating which item they'd like to testify on. And we ask that everyone please state their name before speaking. And to all of us that are here in person, please remember to speak to this the owl, which is a camera and microphone, so everybody on Zoom can hear us and see us. And always important is our aloha etiquette for today's meeting. So basically, just keep an open and positive attitude and listen to understand. And everyone has a right to share and be comfortable with their own ideas. And it's okay to disagree as long as it's done respectfully. And if you do need to argue the issue, not against the person. And we'll just ask that one person speak at a time with no side conversations. And please limit distractions by turning off your cell phones and not doing outside work during the meeting. And we hope to honor everybody's time. So please honor the time limits. Okay, so I guess we'll have to wait till Mahealani before we can do the meeting minutes. So and we'll put that off to the next once Mahealani joins us. So it's now it's 5:04. So the committee will now call for statements from the public, and as stated in the agenda, members of the public may provide public testimony regarding any of the agenda items now or at the time the agenda item is called to order. So if there's anyone who would like to testify, please fill out the sign up form and then give it to our staff. So do we have anybody that wants to testify now or wait until? Okay, there are none. Okay, and then how about on Zoom? Do we have anybody else? Nobody. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the business item number 1. And the first one is we're going to have a presentation from Ryan Okano on the Makai Watch program and its relevance to stream flow and ocean connectivity. And then we'll follow up with any kind of discussion. Is there anyone that wants to provide testimony on this item? Jeremy? Yeah.
May I say something before Ryan does his presentation?
Sure.
Sir?
Yeah.
Let me say a few things before you start, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan, let me start to say a few things about you. I'll say good things about you. Ryan's a Pipikio boy, born and raised here. Ryan's expertise is limu, algae. And I'm encouraging to look at algae, but I guess because aquatics tends to look at finfish. But anyway, you ask yourself, why is aquatic resources here at Community Development Plan Program? It's my purpose that, the saying for the Hāmākua Development Plan is what's good for the Aina is good for the people. We encourage agriculture, but a lot of times county government tends to have a blind eye to the ocean. They always say it's not my kuleana, it's aquatic resources. So many times things just get hung up in government bureaucracy. Ryan, being a local boy, understands he's a fisherman. He loves the river, but there's a connectivity between the land and the ocean. And what I'm really basically concerned is this plan encourages agriculture. I've dealt with farmers that are very blind to just bulldoze dirt and rubbish and then throw it in the ocean, not understanding the connectivity idea. So Ryan's talk, I hope, will make that connection. So Ryan has a relatively big group in Hilo. They tend to do a lot of surveys, but if you look at a coastline, it's pretty rough in terms of doing surveys, unlike Kona side. But the idea is to inform the staff about the connectivity. So I always remind farmers, what you do, your agriculture practice, please be fact aware. And a lot of times, a lot of these farmers tend to use river water to wash their products. And guess where all the sediments and herbicide goes. So that is really an issue. So Ryan, I want you to go ahead and hopefully you can connect this group with the ocean in that sense when we consider issues.
Thanks, Dr. Bob. Really appreciate that. Dr. Bob is one of my mentors from long before. He taught me a lot. My name is Ryan O'Connell. I'm working for the State of Hawaii Division of Aquatic Resources. Our jurisdiction is fish. Primarily fish is what people think of, but we take care of all living things in the water, in the ocean, in the streams, from like opus, hihivai, opai, opihi, limu, aholehole, crabs, he'e, all those good things that we like to eat. We are the agency that makes rules about them. We tell you when you can take them, how much you can take, how you take them. We make those rules. So streams is, we don't manage streams per se. We don't make rules about streams. We cannot bust people. We cannot tell people to keep the stream clean. That's like more Department of Health. We cannot tell people to maintain the flow of the stream or not take too much water or how much you can take. That's the Commission on Water Resource Management. They make those rules. That's their jurisdiction. So I kind of explained our jurisdiction and these other agencies' jurisdiction. But at the same time, our agency has a lot of interest in stream health, if that makes sense to you, because of the animals that live in the streams. If there's no stream, then our animals suffer. And I'd like to highlight the value of streams, and one of the best places, Honolulu is one of the best places to highlight the value of a stream. And we can start biologically. That's what I am about. So we can start above Hāmākua Falls. Above Hāmākua Falls is home. I don't know if it's ohivi, the ones we used to eat and cook. There's also other opus up there, maybe not the eating kind, but things of value still yet that are healthy to the stream that do contribute to other fisheries. When those little opus, they release their eggs, it goes out into the ocean, and when it comes back in mass hinana. And who you think feeds on that? All those predators like moe, papio, and stuff like that. So the opu, even the ones that we don't eat, do support fisheries that we eat, if that makes sense to you. As we move down the stream, you get into the lower places and you find the hihivai, the prawns introduced, and some of the more larger opus, like the nakea, and that's the one I know my dad used to eat. My dad used to live up there. He never have car back then. He was young. So when the grounds that they would fish was the streams. And he tell me, we never need to go to the ocean because the streams had enough. As we make our way down, we go to by the beach, Kole. Then that's when you get into the mois, mallet, ahole, another important fishery that again feeds this. Everything is supporting each other, connected. As you go into the ocean, the streams support the limu, and it provides food for a lot of other things. So that's biologically how valuable a stream is. If Hāmākua Falls wasn't here, you think all the stores on this place would be here? No ways. Wouldn't have that economic value. It's Hāmākua Falls. If the flow stops, the stream dies, the community, all that commercial stuff, that's going to go too. That's how important that stream is. As we go down further down, the same stream supports Kole Beach Park, a place where locals go, where a lot of people from this space like to go down and hang out. If that stream wasn't there, if the stream stopped flowing, the value of that place would diminish. We all know that. So the stream is valuable in so many ways. And that's why I'm here today to talk to you about stream health and its value. I kind of talked about its value already. So one of the problems I encounter, and I live Pipekio, and I do participate in community meetings and stuff like that. And people didn't know who I work for. And a lot of times they always come up to me and grumble about streams. The stream is dirty, the stream is not flowing. And so I'm concerned personally and professionally because the animals that I take care of is in these streams. And to gain momentum to try and do something about these streams, it's a challenge. And I'm not here to throw agencies under the bus. I'm here to kind of try and find a solution in this gray space that everybody kind of has a hard time working in. Like Department of Health, the Clean Water Branch, they have very minimal staff over here, and their primary job is to collect water samples. When they get time, maybe they can conduct enforcement. The Commission on Water Resource Management, they have no staff on Hawaii Island. This is the same commission that got to deal with all the water issues in places like West Maui. So you can imagine how thin and how stretched they are. So what we are proposing, or an idea that is coming from my division, is this Kawai Watch. It's a spin-off of Makai Watch. I know on agenda it says Makai Watch, which is the ocean, but Kawai is stream. So it's Stream Watch. It's caring for the streams. It's working with the community to care for the streams, basically. Listening to the community, identify the appropriate channels, the appropriate agencies that can make the difference to enforce these things. It's kind of working in this gray space, trying to coordinate and connect. I think so there's a lot of space there to do work. And I'm not going to read the objectives that is listed on the paper. You guys can read all that. But like I said, it's basically caring for the stream, maintaining the flow, maintaining the water quality, how clean it is, working with community to do all these things. And the problem with this is as an agency, it's a challenge to achieve this, because to be successful, it takes more than just my agency. It's going to take the other agencies that I mentioned earlier. And we've been forming relationships with them. We've been socializing this idea with those agencies. I've been socializing this idea with other community members. So right now it's unfunded, but we're looking for funding opportunities, and we got some, I guess, in the oven, and we got to see how it turns out. Yeah, so I'll stop there already. And if anybody got questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Sorry.
Any questions? Go ahead.
I live up on in Hāmākua, and consequently, I'm not nearly as familiar with the streams down on this side of Hāmākua. But I said to my daughter as we passed over Uma stream a couple of weeks ago, gosh, Uma looks the lowest I think I've seen it over 50 years of looking at that stream. And I just wonder, I mean, surely there's been other points where it's been lower than that, but I'm just wondering, what is your impression about water flow in the streams on this side? Do you have any comments where that's going? What we might be looking toward in the future?
Yeah. So I've looked at some of the rainfall data and there seems to be like a downward trend in rainfall. And I think so it goes back maybe 5 years. And I never look at the most recent data, but we all know it's not raining as much as it used to before. People who have lived here for a while, they know that. And of course, that's affecting the flow, no doubt. And so that's why I feel like it's a crisis. It's a crisis where, the stream is being already impacted by all these changes. We got to start trying to take care of it, whatever remains, because we're going to lose it. It's being lost. There's less and less places where the streams flow. Like in your area before, I'm sure streams used to flow a lot more, and now they don't even flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of theories, a lot of ideas, but I think so rainfall, of course, rainfall makes the most sense. Land use practices, people attribute some of the degradation of flow to the eucalyptus. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was a big change in land use from cane to eucalyptus. That was huge. Yeah.
Do you know if there is water table data that says that the table of water that's under the island is perhaps receding? Is there any, or is that even maybe I have a kind of a misimpression about that, but I wonder, is that a thing or?
Yeah. So I think of a lot of that type of groundwater work, aquifer work is mostly conducted on the west side of our island. A lot of our water is surface water, you know what I mean, that we use. So a lot of it is conducted that side. But, it's the studies over there have shown that it's really difficult to understand. Like stream systems is kind of hard, but you can see it, you know what I mean? And it's easy to understand, but these other systems underground, very hard to understand.
Yeah.
But some of the data they show, for example, is like when the water comes out near the shoreline, at springs and stuff like that on Kona side, like some of that water can be thousands and thousands of years old from when it first dropped to when it comes out.
Yeah.
And some of those aquifers are multiple mountain aquifers, like combined of Hualalai and like Mauna Loa or Mauna Kea, I forget, but it's, multiple, those aquifers are being supported by multiple mountains, the water from multiple mountains. And I'm not just saying all this because it's what I'm trying to say is super complicated. Yeah, especially with the groundwater stuff. So your question is, has it been going down or up? I don't know. I know I understood your question, but yeah, we're trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that, like the Water Commission, they have the sustainable yield, but that's sort of like the 10,000 feet elevation in terms of the various watersheds around the state. And that's what they sort of base the groundwater, but like Brian is saying, all the geological layering is how things move laterally when they move down to the streams.
I guess what I kind of picture, and it probably is a mistaken picture, is that there's a water table in a sense that supports the springs that come up in a gulch maybe, and if the water table would diminish, the springs would lose their source of flow, and So I just had wondered, oh, is that something that's actually happening? That we're losing springs here and there to a drier climate?
Yeah, I think so. I think so that happens, and I think so science would agree that it happens. But the question is that they're having a hard time answer is like, when you turn off the faucet up there or you stop the rain up there, what is the lag time or delay when that spring is going to stop pumping? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How long? You should I saying I think so. That's one of the biggest questions
Yeah.
that they have a hard time figuring out. Might be different aquifers, different timing. You know what I mean? So it varies from place to place.
Thank you.
I guess, another question I had, obviously, Valkia, the upper forest lands, obviously catch a lot of the rain and water, but, as we move down into more of the, areas that more populated and Hāmākua is primarily, agricultural. And so I guess, I know in the CDP we have, like some of the, stream riparian buffer areas, which again, I don't know, I think it's time to sort of monitor the grading and grubbing for ag, though I don't know if I don't know. I've never really seen anybody out there in terms of, we have a lot of sweet potato farmers and they're usually just leasing land. And so there's really not much incentive to, they want to maximize the area that they're cultivating. And so I know a lot of times I see, the grading go right up to the gulch edge, right? And then the other thing is during the cultivation and harvesting, a lot of time it's dependent on, they got to get it out because of, for the harvest. And a lot of times I see the tractors and, folks going in, even if it's pouring rain. And so, the sedimentation and a lot of the contouring of the, the rows, sometimes they want it to drain, so they don't go with the contour, they just take it Mackay, right? So it just ends up being runoff. So I guess, those are things from the county perspective that we need to enforce, and then Department of Health, to what degree in terms of what the actual stream, you don't,
See, you bring up the county part too, and I never even think about that too much or talk about that. So that's like a whole other pot that is,
Right.
yeah, it's such a gray area. So like, yeah, you're saying who controlling that grubbing and grading? Probably county. Once the water get dirty, maybe Department of Health.
right.
Yeah, and
right.
that's what kind of this program would try and figure out and try to answer those questions and try to help the people, who to report these issues
Right.
to. You know what I
Right.
mean? Half the time people don't even know. Yeah.
Right. And then I guess the other question maybe to planning, and I don't know, maybe if you and Bob are aware of, in the CDP, we had a recommendation, and I know that they hired a consultant to do the, the coastline setbacks. And I was wondering where that is at currently, because that's a huge issue on Hāmākua in terms of undermining and, the affecting the OPE and, that intertidal zone along the cliffs.
Yeah, that's the riparian setback comment or something like that.
Well, it's the whole coastline. Yeah,
They were doing the mapping, they had the GIS, there was something wrong with the GIS data and they had to redo it. And then I think it's the SMA plan or something, and we can work on getting an update.
yeah, I think that'd be helpful, because obviously, feeds into the, that intertidal zone where, yeah, okay.
That, yeah, you still are just no longer, we lost it.
Working on that, yeah.
So I think- But,
What's the name of that staff? Okay.
Oh, really?
Well, he's been, he got moved, now administrative permits, along with that, place.
Um, you operating in silos, you can't break that. You really can't break that. But I think the key here is to get the community more aware of this. You know, if you remember many years ago, there's a saying that came on TV, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Remember that one? But we should adopt a saying here that what happens Hāmākua does not stay Hāmākua. You know, this is really the whole concept. So there is a group that Ryan is very close with in Pipikil, the Makahanalo, and what's the other one? Yeah, they're very active in access to the coastal areas for fishing. Because they want to preserve that culture of coastal fishing, you know? I think, so now they're working very, very well with landowners and big companies to gain access to some of these traditional fishing areas. I think the key is now is to bring them on board to make them understand that the productivity of coastal fisheries is very dependent on stream flow. Whether it's surface or subsurface, it doesn't matter. So that's the pressure that's really missing. If you go to that Maui issue now that's going on with the cancellation of the professional golf tour, it's about bucks. Yeah. Is the water for Maui Land and Pine, is the water for the golf course and things like that. But thank goodness for Maui, at least the Kalo farmers has standings in the Water Commission decision. They need water, and they also have standing quotes for the native O'opu. You know, but what happens is from now on down, the front end of oceans and streams for the moili and ama and ama crabs are basically, there's no standing for them to access the river mouth and conditions, estuarine conditions. You know, so it's easy to oversee them. They say, well, it's not worth anything. The golf course is worth about $10 million. Yours is useless. So I think this group can bring that Makanalo up, basically to elevate them to be part of the process. You know, it's the public pressure that's lacking here, you know, and I think that Ryan's group, I think, would be a great place that we can work with for them to be more active and see that they can be part of our group here in terms of being able to speak their piece here with us.
So I guess, Ryan, you know, this Kahawai Watch, how does that work in terms of, is it specific to an area like, you know, Pipikil, the community groups that are kind of plugging in or trying to rally?
Yeah, right now we have minimal capacity. So I do it once in a while, like when people call me up and tell me, not everybody does the same thing. Like, for example, you know, and on our team, we try to do a lot of freshwater things. We try to work on streams and stuff like that. But Kona side, they don't have too much streams, so they don't do too much that kind of work. So it kind of depends, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is there a setback in terms of number of feet from say, a farmer's private property where he can bulldoze or till the soil to the edge of the gulch that he is bordering?
I think there is a setback, but I'm not too sure on the details. Yeah, I'm not too sure on the details, and I'm sure it varies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you guys make the setbacks for that kind of stuff?
Because I know that in this Hāmākua CDP on the natural resources thing, we did call, you know, kind of highlight.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Even-
it comes with the planning.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if nothing further, thank you very much, Ryan, for your time and information.
I appreciate you guys' interest. Thank you.
Okay, the next item business is going to be the Papaco and Pipik Hill bus stop shelters. And so Ben will provide an update if he has one on up shelters along the Haleon route in focusing on Papaco and Pipik Hill.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. This issue, just for your information, is I presented issue this to the proper authority me so I could finalize the issue where we need to put these shelters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this-
we've also been kind of chasing for an update from MTA folks. Yeah,
Yeah, please,
like,
I can hear it too.
is that any better? No? Okay.
A little bit louder, please.
Sorry, we're having Wi-Fi issues, so we keep getting booted off. But Jess, you want to give the update? She gave it to us this morning.
So we got an email from Mass Transit that they're moving forward with following changes to Route 80 to address the committee's concerns about bus stop and shelters in the Papaico and Pepecao community. So basically, they're adding a service to stop at the old Mama Lahoa Highway at the Kalani Anaole Elementary Bus Shelter. So they're gonna add a stop there as well as restructure routing in Pepecao for the 3:15 a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. trips only to the Kulaimano Elderly Housing Bus Shelter. So they're gonna add a stop at that bus shelter instead of off the highway. So that way there's a bus shelter for people that are waiting.
Yeah, I didn't get that message. Sorry. Now I hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, and so in general, the bus stops are like a collaborative effort between MTA and DOT because this is DOT highways and stuff. So the other bus stops that you had brought up before by like Pinky's or Kimura's and by the Pepecao post office. So they talked about moving that bus stop in general now closer to the new store that's opening. That probably will take a lot longer, but the one by the old Pinkies, that will be we checked in with DOT and they said that they've been working with them to get that. So that one would be up sooner than the other one. But they're still working on negotiating all of those, the details of that. And then in the meantime, my understanding is that these are changes that are going to be implemented more soon to Route 80 to give that route some shelters in those regions.
Yeah, according to this one, we're gonna assess these areas. These areas, me and the first mass transit administrator manager, Kendall, and this new guy, Zach Bergen, those two, I was with them and investigate this area. They even took pictures. And nothing is done.
Yeah.
I'm just very, very curious that this is not being taken action. That's why I'm here. So I'm sorry, but this is my feeling. Well, I hope we can do something about these people because they're dying to have this shelter and lights. I'm talking about safety for these people and our future generation to go to work and they had safety in themselves. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. For Christ's sake, let's have this thing done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben. So I guess, we just want to kind of stay on it and kind of keep on asking for updates and then hopefully things are
Yeah.
moving.
They said they couldn't make it to this meeting to give the update, but
Yeah.
we just keep bugging them for every
Yeah.
meeting to give an
Yeah.
update.
Well,
Not
last
bugging,
time, there's
reaching out.
nobody represent them last time when we have a meeting.
Well,
From-
we have the person that was on Zoom, right?
Yeah, okay.
That was,
Casey, yeah.
yeah. So we just got to stay on it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot hear you, man. I cannot hear you.
Corey, can you come up and grab the mic?
Sorry.
I think there's a county level transportation commission. They work on tax anyway, that might be someone to approach and just get it on the record public and make a little noise about it. So
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that question is accurate.
Is it-
What was the question?
That there's a transportation commission under the mayor's office.
Oh.
But I don't know if they're active or their meetings. We can look into it to see. And there's a transportation committee, and maybe that committee can also help advocate for this issue. Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll look to see if
Mm,
they're active or still,
Okay,
yeah, this
with-
year.
With the mayor.
Yep, we'll check.
Okay.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Ben. Corey.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, the next item of business is the Hākala infrastructure projects and so I guess as far as what we want to send a letter, or can we just, do we have to send a letter to ask for like an update basically?
So we actually got updates for like the Hākala Bridge. It was on communication number 2, which
Right,
was actually in the newspaper.
right.
So I believe phase 1 is starting, or it actually started. Did
Yeah,
it start?
started last week.
And then we also got an update from DPW regarding Kini Stream Bridge. So right now, the design package is in queue to be reviewed by the DPW engineering. And then they're coordinating with the state DLNR for long lead permitting items. But he was planning to make it today to give the update. But so if you folks have any questions, we can take it back and then she can answer them.
Okay, so the design package for is it for the embankment or is it for the bridge?
Looks like it's for the bridge.
For the bridge. What about the embankment? Because that's a big issue in terms of opening up the old Mamaloho Highway from Kolikoli Park to Kaviki Homestead Road. And
I think from what I was seeing, the way DPW, I don't know how closely they are, but on their maps, it shows kind of like it's like kind of the same project. Does that make sense to you? If it-
yeah, yes and no, but
Right.
because based on my understanding is that, there's the bridge itself,
Yeah.
which obviously we missed the funds when the last major storm undercut it back in 2018. But my understanding is that this embankment, which is a lot of the edge of the old highway in the vicinity
Mhm.
of Kakini Bridge
Yeah,
is washed out because of the runoff coming off not only the Mauka lands, but also the road, Keviki Homestead Road, and
Yeah.
it sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we had separated them,
Yeah.
and so I'm thinking on their side, they're kind of considering it one project, but I think we can get that clarification from
Yeah,
her,
okay, yeah,
to make sure.
that would be good. And then I saw the communication on the Hakalau stream, so, that's gonna be done in 3 phases from what I understand. The first phase started and that they're gonna be dealing with, I forget what they call it, the bend, which is down at the bottom of the big bridge structure. And then they're gonna do, second phase is lead paint mitigation, and then
Yeah.
then the actual construction of the I guess it would be replacement of all the metal support structures with concrete. So
And
that,
then,
or something like that. So anyway, it's gonna go on until
uh,
2027 or something.
a fun fact I learned about this bridge today was that apparently when DOT was reviewing and they were going through the whole maintenance or rehab of this, there was so much community input about the significance of Hakalau Bridge
Mhm.
that DOT has, as a side piece to this project, put aside money to essentially film the process of this rehab project
Huh.
and make a bit of a documentary of what they're doing on it. They put
Huh.
like $1 million aside for this or something like that,
Huh.
which is very interesting. And
Right.
we'll see what that looks like at the end, but that's
Right.
kind of unprecedented, I think.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, because the other thing that's related to it is, the community park is, not accessible anymore. People still go down there because they can walk.
Mhm.
And people do use it. And I know that the community group, Russ Gibbs and, some of the folks locally were still partially maintaining it, but it's a lot less than what it used to be. And it used to be, they used to do an amazing job down there. And it was partnering with the Parks Department
Mhm.
in terms of, helping them with, some of the logistics, but they were doing all the labor, the community group. So it would be nice because it's one of the few, accessible recreation areas
Right.
for the area. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? So yeah, if we can get the detailed update. It seems like the DPW process is, like churning just to get them to put out the design package. I mean, that. Okay. Okay, and then next item is the proposed amendment to the planning department public notice procedure. So I know that at the last meeting, we talked about that amendment and it was submitted, right, to planning, and going to update us on. No.
Okay. Yeah, so, the committee finalized the letter, chair signed it, and we submitted the letter to, planning director, Mr. Jeff Darrow. I think we included the signed copy as as part of the meeting packet, so that you guys could review it. The letter essentially asked, it proposed the drafted language to the zoning code and the subdivision code, proposing that planning create an email listserv along with the newspaper notifications and the request from you guys to make it by district, that you could sign up for the district to receive public notices for administrative permits that were going, or administrative applications that were going through the department. So that's things like your variances, your final plan approvals, things of that nature, subdivisions. And so Jeff received the letter and he was interested in seeing how this would work in terms of staff workflow, what procedures would have to change and whatnot. He's supportive of the idea. And so we're working with him and working with clerical staff that do these posting procedures, and hopefully kind of finding a way to incorporate this. He did say, though, that by having the email listserv is possible, but by district, he seems that would be a bit too beyond staff's capacity, I think, is what he was saying. So, but planning staff is working right now to kind of see what it would take to create that email listserv, working with IT, and then working with the clerical staff to see where this would fit in their current procedures, and hopefully it alleviates it so that, there's more reason for planning to incorporate this into our procedures. He also noted that because he was trying to find a way for us to move towards that sooner, as opposed to a whole zoning code amendment. But he did take the amendment and he said that he was going to incorporate it to send it to the consultants that we're using for the zoning code update. So that will be, it's on the side for when that project comes back to be a priority. Right now, the priority for the planning department is the general plan. But once that goes through council, then the zoning code update would become a priority project of us. And this would be one of the pieces that they would start using to start that conversation with the consultants again. So the letter is has kind of a twofold, right? So right now we'll work on seeing how we can incorporate at least some of the immediate of creating that email listserv. And then on the second half is keeping this in mind for the bigger picture of the zoning code update as they go through all those things. Yeah, so.
What is the expected timeline on the zoning code update?
Um, So just for a little background information, the zoning code update was initiated at least 4 or so years ago, under the previous administration. County council, instead shared that they felt that planning department should just focus on one project, not do the general plan and the zoning code. That way the new general plan could be reflected within the zoning code as well, if needed, and a bunch of other reasons. So basically planning had to put the zoning code on the back burner. General plan is still going through council. We have scheduled meetings throughout this month, where planning is presenting the different chapters of the plan to council, and council is deliberating. We expect there to be continued deliberations throughout the spring. Council doesn't have a timeline on how long they can take to deliberate the general plan. So we're kind of on their timeline of how they want the things to go. If and when that does pass the next year, hopefully, if we're being, optimistic, then the zoning code project would get kind of initiated again, but that's starting again from zero. So doing the background research information with the consultants and things like that. So this zoning code, before anything is even being presented to planning commission, would probably be at least a couple of years. But public input can start, at any moment. And
Is it your impression that the current zoning code restricts notification solely to the newspaper?
yes, so if you pull up chapter, the amendment, so basically chapter 25 and chapter 23 zoning code and subdivision code have language in there that instruct the planning department to give public notice, depending on the types of applications and what type of public notice. And so that is what is forcing the planning department essentially right now to even post within the newspapers. So the logic was that let's beef that language up a little bit more to include email listservs, so that planning now has to also provide digital notice. Planning already does put notice on their website, just as a courtesy, but it could be better, right? We're always pushing for that. So yeah, so the requirement lives in code, and this would be where we would want to make change, because again, it's up to if not in code, then it's subject to interpretation and subject to administrative will of the administration, right? So
Yeah, as a kind of interim measure, would there be a possibility to like incorporate it as administratively as a rule, just as a practice to kind of.
that's fair, though. That's true. So beyond zoning code and subdivision code, another set of rules that guides planning staff is the administrative rules, the planning department administrative rules. So that would be another avenue where a rule could be set up for the planning department to follow. Another version could even be a planning director memo of how to interpret or what we're going to be doing forward. So every planning director has the authority to issue out these memos to staff, and that is kind of what staff will follow during that.
Would be, has it been brought up and shared with the other CDP action committees? Because I'm pretty sure that most of them would.
Yes, and we
agree.
are due for we just, with the chair meeting being put together by the mayor's office, that kind of took up one of our slots.
Yeah.
But we're shooting to have either an end of year or the launching of 26th of January all chair meeting. And so these are those moments where we like to share. I mean, you're always welcome to request that we share things across. We do that, but
Yeah.
To kind of get that collaborative nature across the districts for things that are relevant to everybody. Yeah. So I think maybe a potential next step it would be, you know, as planning staff finish finalizing how this could be incorporated into the current procedures, is then also if you re-agendize this item to see, to push on maybe, okay, this is the letter that you previously sent is for zoning code amendment or update, but maybe something can be done in the meantime. So
Interim,
it can
yeah.
be another letter,
Okay.
a request. And we'll work and see hand in hand to make sure that there's something written that,
Well, can we, so just to kind of speed things up, can we just like we could probably like have a motion here just
we
to,
could have that motion
Just
here
sort of-
now. We have Maha now.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
What is the motion?
Well, I guess I'm gonna make a motion that we as a committee request that as an interim measure that the planning department look at the either, what is it called, the rules and.
planning department
and the
administrative
planning
rules.
department memo
Or a planning department.
that
memo.
would sort of actually set in motion the having that public notice with what we're asking. Because otherwise we have to just wait until the zoning thing, which could be years. I don't, so to me, it makes, it just makes sense from a community, awareness standpoint in terms of having access to that information in in people's districts. So.
I certainly would like to support that. I was also interested in your question. Have the other action committees been notified of, at least our interest in this expansion of notification of permitting, particularly in the areas or in the regions that those committees are serving, but I suppose that notification of the other committees is not going to come from the planning department. Is it okay if our committee, who initiated the questions revolving around this, probably through a letter from the chair, would notify the other action committees that we are of the interest that we have in this project?
Yeah, and then I think you could even, in this letter that the motion is about, you could even make it so that it's CC'd to every committee.
Ah, there we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple.
Okay, so that'd be the motion to request that, the planning department look at these interim procedures and then also CC the other committees so that they can inform them in anticipation of the, I guess we're gonna possibly have all chair or CDP island-wide meeting beginning of the year.
Are you able to specify some procedures?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, the first one is the rules, right?
Right,
rules
so
and procedure.
it would be the planning department's administrative rules, and then the other option would be the planning department director's memos to staff memos. And to clarify, the content that would be expected in there is similar to what was expected in the previous letter that you guys already submitted.
Yeah.
So we would be kind of just carrying over that request, but
Yeah.
under other mechanisms.
And do we have to formulate the language of this request
I don't-
before we actually vote on it?
I don't think so. I mean, we just,
Corporation Council has given the guidance because, their general guidance to these committees is that if the general intention of the drafted letter is kind of established within the motion, and then the committee agrees to vote on that motion and leave the explicit verbiage to chair and planning staff, that should be okay, as long as the letter does reflect what was discussed for the motion. So they're okay with us not actually having a physical draft to
Yeah.
vote on.
That would be excellent. I would feel like, it's a subject that I'm quite interested in, and I'm just wondering if perhaps the chair and planning might circulate
Yeah.
a copy of that to
Yeah, when
the
I-
several members here.
I think what we can do is, you know,
Suggestion.
in advance of the next meeting, we'll just have that, when we have our meeting, when I meet with planning staff, then we'll get a draft of the actual wording in the meeting minutes agenda, and then we'll go ahead and I'll circulate it.
Or can this letter be sent even before our next meeting? Are we meeting every 2 months?
We're
now?
meeting every, so what we can do is we can have staff work with chair to draft the letter, and then once we feel like we have a decent draft, we can submit it BCC to all committee members, so you guys get to review it.
Yeah.
And then you can email us back with any thoughts, and if there's too many changes or, too many significant, differences, then we'll wait till the next meeting, but if not, if everything looks okay,
That would be
Yeah.
great.
then we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Submit it.
So all the CDC all over island involved?
And then after, once it's signed by chair, then we'll send it out to all the committees.
Okay? Yeah, because I don't want to wait until the next meeting. I just want to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I second.
Great. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
I
Okay, aye. So it passes. We're gonna have a draft action thing to send out. And it'll be on the agenda too next. All righty, the next item is the YPO steering committee update. So, Heather is not here. Where is she? She's
Yeah,
on
she's
the-
not here.
Okay, Mahilani, do you have anything on that? I know that Heather sent us something in the,
yeah, only that they're looking at dates for this month. I still never fill out my survey, did you?
no. But I know she sent out a,
Like
see.
Calendly or something like that.
yeah, she also sent out a draft, a couple of documents. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Okay. I don't have immediate access to, let me see. But in essence, I heard that, yeah, they're trying to set up another meeting. And then on top of that, there was did you see that from Heather? It was like a pedestrian, something to do with the pedestrian access, the update on that. And then also a draft proposal for establishing the Vahipana through, I think, the Cultural Resources Commission. And then working with the Department of Research and Development to kind of work with the community and agencies and other stakeholders to kind of set the framework for the Vahipana designation countywide. And so I don't know, yeah, so we can have a more detailed, hopefully Heather can make it, but that's my understanding. Okay. Any other questions on that? I don't have I'm trying to pull it out. Okay, I guess what we'll do is, that's it for the business items. So is there any, public testimony for matters either on the agenda or, not on the agenda?
Um, I can't quite hear what everyone's saying, but I think you were talking about you folks getting notice of when there's any new projects coming up, like a new subdivision or anything. I would think there'd be a way to access it by tax map key and by date. If it could just get some AI to sort it out that way in the planning, then people could just go and say, hey, I want things for this tax map key from this date, you know, in the past month, what has come up, something like that. And perhaps you could speak to how hard that would be.
Are you saying that, like, if you want, like, the way you could go and search it? Because I think you can.
Planning department website.
Right.
They're wondering to search and say, give me everything that's come up for these tax map keys for the past month.
I think that's how the Epic system is set up. If you're doing like a one, like if you have a parcel in mind, I think you can go on our Epic service, and you can put in the team and it'll pull up all. Okay, I
Right.
just wanted to distinguish
Right.
that difference.
Yeah, I think, for us, it's just having, for anybody that's interested, that they can basically see what's happening in their district and then be able, so. Yeah, you would think with all the technology and AI, everything that we have, be doable. I know that they'll come through.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so, no other, public testimony? Okay, so I guess the other item that we need to do is, the, meeting minutes from the last meeting. Yeah, so can I get a motion to approve the draft minutes from August 13th, 2025 meeting?
I make that
I make a motion.
Okay, Lonnie has
approve.
made a motion. Approve. Any second?
A second.
second, yeah.
Okay, second by Ton. And does anybody have any corrections or suggestions? If not, it has been moved and second that we approve the August 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. Okay, it's been approved. And let's see. Okay. Okay, so do you have any, we don't have any other third party reports, new business, any action, any items that we'd like to put on the agenda for the next meeting?
You know, I would like to, I don't have anything to put on the agenda now. However, I would hope that perhaps you could send out a notice maybe a week before the agenda comes out,
Okay.
just reminding us that, gosh,
We're
you
gonna
know, do you have any, asking that same question at that point.
Okay.
If there would be, I think it would be useful.
Okay. We can do that.
Yeah, that's very useful. Like what happened now, I didn't have all this issue that being presented. So we would like to have the issue resolved. So we won't be left behind.
Okay, so we'll make sure that the more update, more detailed update and accountability for the bus stops. And then obviously this public notice issue. And then we'll get a update from Heather on the YPO, more detailed sharing of that. And does anybody from the community have any agenda items that they might want us to add or in the future meeting? No?
Yeah, I noticed we have the flashing light in Pepekeo. implemented already. Okay. So what about Papaiku? We need to have that light implemented too, because that is a very dangerous area, just like Pepekeo. So that's one thing I would like to see implemented, because it won't be unfair if we're gonna left one side and we just see sides. Okay, so that's one thing I really would
By
like.
Kimaras, by Pinkies? Is that what you're talking about? The other second
Yeah,
flashing light?
yeah, that area there, we need a light there, because I mean, yeah, flashing light just like we have here in Pepekeo. So I noticed that one is all right, implemented. And so in Papaiku, we need those things to have implemented.
Where's the flashing light in Pepekeo? Is that,
It's on the pinkies before.
uh-huh,
Okay, what is the name? Kimura now.
Uh-huh. that's,
Everybody knows that.
Right.
Everybody passed through that area.
uh-huh,
And so there, we need a light in there.
okay.
And so that's another issue that we would like to have it implemented. And another issue that I really would like to present to you guys is about our community, or a community center in Papaiku is being left behind for so many years or whatever, because it is run down. I have pictures on it.
This is the one
And
at the
The
gym or?
community, yeah, it's right next to the gym.
Okay.
The community centers need to be updated, so this community can use it. We pay our taxes, and for Christ's sake, we have to accommodate these people. Okay? I don't know if they have community association, just like we have here in Pepekeo. But I would like to have that too implemented about them, because so they could get info, put their feedback to the, like us, or to the mayors.
Is that DPW? The
That's-
facility, or is it parks?
I would imagine it's parks.
Parks.
That's another issue that really, there's a lot of issues here that need to be corrected for the better for us. Not
But-
only for us, but our generation to come. Like another issue is these houses, it's been abandoned. There's nobody living there. It's ready to get fire. I mean, you could just like a fireball in there, if that is just if it's just safety hazard. You won't be living in the next door where that place is. We're lucky we don't have snake around here in this island, this state. If there's a snake we have here, so Lord have mercy, we're all dead, because there doesn't safe haven for this snake or to hide. But I just another issue that really needs to be corrected. This is for us, for good for all of us. Houses are being abandoned. Grass is all over the place. Yeah. All the grass being grown on the roof. It's rotten and nobody lives there. I noticed that. But I don't know about you guys. If you have, if you don't notice that, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you the notice that I could right now.
We have that here in Honolulu. So Ben, the first one was Papaiko,
Yeah.
the flashing light at
Papaico-
Pinkies, and then the community center by
Yeah.
the gym.
Yeah.
Status of that.
Yeah.
So
The roof
maybe-
is raw.
We can reach out to parks and see where that on their priorities.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of their
Thank you.
maintenance. Okay, and the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd. Okay, and any announcements?
I have more of a report than an announcement. There's an 80-acre property that is down below the scenic route, where I believe it's Six-Ton Bridge is the name of the bridge. That it's the property, the 80 acres are immediately below that, and it's come to be known as Kawainui Makai. It's in the Kawainui stream, and surrounding property. About 2/3 of the property is in conservation area. And
This is in, Onamea.
this side of Omea, yeah. And so the property was identified to the Ponk Commission last year as being a valuable property that we would benefit from the county's purchase using Ponk funds, which would keep it as open space and with certain kind of public access. And the nature of that public access is, I suppose, to be determined. But at any rate, the Ponk Commission gave it its second highest rating of any of the properties in the island as far as encouraging the county to purchase that property. And the county government, the county council then passed a motion to allow the county to enter into discussion with the owner who had put this property up for sale. At the same time, we presented this to the Ponk Commission. And so the county government expressed interest in its purchase and required a appraisal to proceed with purchase. The asking price for the property was $8 million, and the county's appraisal came in at $6 million. And in fact, there were other offers that came from other places for the property. But this afternoon, I received a message from the realtor who was serving as mediary for not only the county purchase, but also had presented the property to other interested parties. And he said that though it is not a signed document, he expects the document to be signed within the next week, proceeding with sale of the property to the county. And so I think that's actually a wonderful thing that has taken place. I guess it's not signed yet, but and even after it's signed, it'll be a number of months in escrow. But I think that's a big step. It's a step in the sense that I think the real work will come afterwards in trying to decide, well, what is actually going to happen to this property. You know, like a third of it is actually in conservation zoning. The Gulch, spectacularly beautiful area, and a very long estuary that certainly is an example of what you were talking about, how the ocean and the streams are all one unit and to be seen as being part of each other. And one of the things that will need to be decided following all of this work is the issues of access. It's not a simple matter. I think if it is just completely open for public access, again, the great beauty of this place will be an attraction that might end up deteriorating the natural area. But how is the issue of access solved? I don't know. The Ponk Commission indicated that the stewards of this property will likely be the Hāmākua Fishing Association. And I think that that's entirely appropriate, my own perspective. So at any rate, I'm just very happy to be able to report that things are looking positive at the county's purchase of this.
Great. Well, good
Okay.
news.
Yeah.
And then I guess when the time comes, when it gets finalized, then maybe, we can, use this meeting to engage the community, well, them
Yeah.
and the greater
The rest of the
community to participate in helping formulate, those issues.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Anything else, Bob?
Yeah, I'd like to add that the purchase of the property is $6 million, but the added value is an estuary that's sandwiched between those properties. And I think that in itself, you have a taker like Makahanaoa, who's very active. But I think this would be a good opportunity as an education idea of the connectivity between land and the ocean. But this can be part and parcel of what I've been preaching about. So, and Ryan, being part of that, understands that motive. So it's really a plus for what we talked about today.
Great. Okay. Anything else? Any other announcements? Our eternal announcement is planning department is always seeking applicants for this committee and requests assistance to get the word out to interested community members. So please.
We need 4 more.
We need 4 more. We have 5.
Could I actually, I had intended to ask if we could, as a action committee, send a letter, and I can write that letter to the current owner of the Kawainui property, just thanking them for being so public minded and
You want to draft something and then,
yeah,
then-
if we can do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
okay,
All right.
all right. Okay. So I'm guessing nothing else. And so we're doing really well. We're going to adjourn the meeting. The meeting is adjourned at 6:24. Thank you, everybody, for coming and participating.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Maya.
Good night.
Good night.